to you. Good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. Won't you share with a friend or two? Good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. You. Good morning, good morning to you. And many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Daring Dialogues. I'm your host today, Shantae Charles. We're in season 14, episode 27. We are going to be reading today and discussing Drama Free, a guide to managing unhealthy family relationships. We are in the chapter that talks about thriving versus surviving. And the topic we're going to be talking about today is how to disrupt being a victim. And we're going to talk about being a whistleblower in the family and what it means to be a whistleblower and what to do if you find yourself having or being a part of a complex family relationship. So, again, if you're just coming in, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We're reading from Drama Free by Dr. Nedra Glover Tawwab. We love to read from books by actual researchers and peer reviewed sources. Whistleblower in the family. Issues are usually uncovered by one brave person who is willing to shake things up. Are you that person? Have you been known to be the person who shakes things up in your family, the whistleblower per se? Be the brave one in your family. Your level of exposure to the rest of the world may be different from that of other family members. Therefore, you might be more aware of healthier ways to parent, healthier ways to manage emotions without self medicating, or healthier ways to manage finances. Without telling people that they need to change, you might be the person that can show them or let them know what behaviors no longer work for you and what behaviors actually are healthy just by your example in their life. Small changes in a dysfunctional family might look like the following. Liz never heard her mother say, I love you, but as an adult, Liz now initiates telling her mother, I love you. And after several months, her mother starts saying it back, I love you too. As a child, Brent was often spanked for even minor infractions. He chooses not to spank his own children. When family members have opposed his quote unquote new age parenting practices, he tells them he's going to do things differently and asks them to respect his choices. Kim's father introduced her to alcohol when she was just 12 years old. He thought it was okay for her to have an occasional beer. When Kim turned 23, she stopped drinking with her father and has decided to go another way. Now, to be clear, family isn't our only teacher. We have many. Be willing to look beyond your family for healthy ways of being. If you didn't learn something at home, there are many other places to learn it. No one taught me isn't a reason to give up learning. Ooh, I think I'm going to put that somewhere on my social medias today. No one taught me, saying no one taught me isn't a reason to give up learning. We all have the choice now, the responsibility now to learn things for ourselves that maybe we did not learn growing up. You learn a lot from your family, but you can also learn from the following sources: reading books, newspapers, magazines, listening to podcasts like you're doing today, watching television. Although I would make sure that it's not for entertainment, but it's make sure it's for education purposes if we're talking about learning. Observing how other families interact with each other through your own extended family experiences. Learning about other cultures, even being willing to travel to new places and spaces to get that learning. Therapy, individual therapy, couples therapy, or even group therapy. Coaching or guiding. And sometimes we can pick up a lot just from social media. Now, me, I'm going to tell you, I love uh, Google, the education side of Google, the research side of Google. I like the fact now that I can ask questions about different things. I can just hit my mic, and if I have a question about something, I can ask it, and then it will actually give me a summary, but then it will actually point me to articles that have research based articles that I can actually click on and learn more. How do I know the difference between just an article that's out there by someone's opinion versus a research article? I tend to look for um, .gov or .edu on the ending of those articles. That's going to let me know when it's a more research-based article. So it's not just somebody giving their opinion, but there's actually some data backing the article. Now, if you have a complex family relationship, please note it is normal to feel envious of people who have had a more ideal family relationship than you have. Watching someone experience a life that you wanted can be painful. It's important to remember that you did not pick your family, nor did the person you envy pick their family. Be mindful of your energy when you notice jealousy or envy. Be kind to yourself, but don't allow your envy of others people's lives to take control of you emotionally. And I always say, even though you may see a part of someone's life, you not necessarily know what they went through to get to that ideal family version that you see before them. You don't know the trials of that family. You don't know the secrets of that family. So sometimes we can be looking outward at what someone else has, but not understanding what the layers are underneath that or the work that it took for them to get to that point. It's normal to wonder if you'd be different if your experiences had been different, right? For people like myself who have experienced sexual assault, it is okay to wonder what would my life have been like if I had not experienced that? What would my life have been like if I had not been exposed to certain things at an early age without my consent, right? It's it's okay to wonder how your life would be or how different it would be. But to be cautioned, playing the game of what if can be dangerous because it ropes you into a fantasy that you won't be able to control. It is normal to talk or not talk about your family because you fear people won't understand your family dynamics or what you went through or how you grew up. There will be people who have no clue about your experiences, yet they'll be the first to offer you feedback about how you should engage with your family. The simple advice is to ignore them, but we know how hard that can be. So respond to people instead of ignoring them. You can send a message to them that their feedback isn't welcome. Responding to people who disagree with your beliefs about family might sound like something like this. My family seems different from yours. I understand your perspective, and I hope you understand mine. All families are different. Please don't tell me how to be in a relationship with my family. You did not grow up and live the dynamics that I live. This is the way I choose to handle my issues with my family. And if you're doing it in a way that's not harmful to your family, that's not harmful to you, then people should be able to respect how you are handling your issues with your family. It is normal to ignore big problems in the relationship, sometimes to get along. To keep the peace, you might find yourself ignoring significant issues in these relationships. But you aren't keeping the peace if only the other person is at peace while you are going through chaos with them. Over time, the problems that are ignored will become bigger. It is normal to sometimes pretend that things are better than they are. Appearances, for some reason, the human reason, are important to many families. In an attempt to appear normal, you may behave out of obligation or to keep up a social standard rather than act based on the truth. Pretending is a coping strategy for some people, and it's used to reduce guilt and shame. Convincing yourself everything looks okay, then it must be okay. You may post photos or stories online that depict a relationship when the opposite may be true. Now, I will be the first one here to admit that I am not good at pretending. And good morning, I am fine. I hope you all are fine where you are. I am not good at pretending at all. So if a relationship is not right, um, the way that I deal with it is I say, hey, listen, if I come into this environment or this person is here, I know how to be cordial, but I'm not going to pretend that we are okay, right? I'm not going to pretend that everything is fine between us. But some people will. And if you have a question, um, and it's not a crazy question, because some people can put those up, feel free to put the question up there. If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll let you know I can't answer it. All right. It is normal to try to be the opposite of your family. If you come out of a very dysfunctional family, if you've come out of a family with, I know for me growing up, I know for me growing up, I came out of a childhood that was filled with lots of strife, with lots of fighting in my early childhood, with people in my community getting into it with my family, um, whole families getting into it with my family, like the aunts, the cousins, people just wanting to fight. And growing up in that environment, it was either you learn how to fight or you're going to get beat up every day. So, because that was my initial growing up, there wasn't an opportunity to be like, oh, we're going to solve this by talking. We're going to conflict resolute. None of that stuff. No. So, because I grew up that way, right? In my life now, I like peace. I like conflict resolution. I like talking things out. I like problem solving rather than creating problems, rather than being around people who like to start a lot of drama, who want to fight, who want to argue. So, in that sense, I knew that as I was growing up, I did not want to have a life that was continually getting involved in fights, in arguments, in disagreements, in people having beef with me, people having beef with my family, carrying on like the Hatfields and the McCoys, having generations of dislike towards other people. So that was definitely for me something where I said, and it wasn't even, I would say, my family's character so much as what was going on with my mom at the time and who my mom was involved with. So I said to myself, when I get older, this is not going to be the kind of life and lifestyle that I want to lead. And I lead a very quiet life. Like this right here is probably the most I'm talking every single day. And I'm doing it because God told me to do it. But other than that, I'm a pretty quiet person. I read a lot and I don't do a lot of talking unless I need to talk. And that's the other thing. So you can try to be the opposite of your family. Becoming the exact opposite of your family isn't always best because in many dysfunctional systems, there are a few things that do work well. Julie told me my mother was a workaholic, but she never missed bedtime with my siblings and me. People can be more than one thing and therefore not all bad. Perhaps there are a few healthy things in your family that you don't mind repeating. Kitty finds I have no idea what the clue is, so you'll have to type it on the screen for me. And finally, it is normal to struggle to have a healthy relationship with your family. As an adult, you might find it hard to figure out how to coexist with certain family members who caused you harm as a child or in adulthood. There's no true definition of a normal family as you define what feels suitable for you in your relationships. Infrequent contact with your family can be normal, or speaking to a family member daily can be normal. Um, Most of us tend to, if we have siblings and maybe we grew up close with those siblings, we might still be talking to them on a daily basis, or every other day. Some of us who maybe have half siblings or step siblings, um, we might not be as close to those siblings, and so our communication with them might not be as frequent. Some of us, depending on our extended family, uncles or aunts or grandmothers or grandfathers, we might talk to them on a more frequent basis than we do even our brothers and sisters. So it all depends on your family dynamics and how you want to have that healthy relationship with your family members. For me, and I think I've said this before, my close relationships were with my grandmothers because pretty much I would say that they were assisting in raising me. Like I had my mom there, I had my aunts and my uncles. I was pretty much, I would say, a village child, pretty much raised by the village, although I had some aunts and uncles that were more active in my life than others. But my grandmothers, I would say, were my staple guides. And so as I got older, I tended to communicate with them a lot more than I would communicate even sometimes with my mom or my dad. And so when those two, my grandmothers, passed away, that was a real void for me because they were kind of my wisdom and my sounding board when I wanted an outside opinion of what was happening in my life. I would, seek the counsel of my elders. I'm very thankful for that because a lot of their wisdom, a lot of their counsel has stayed with me, and I try to share and pass on as much as I can when people ask me for counsel or help. So at the end of this chapter, we just finished chapter 7. She has some exercises here, and I want to encourage you at some point this week to maybe participate in one or two of these exercises. So for these exercises, she does recommend that you grab a journal or a piece of paper to complete the following prompts. Sometimes people like to, email it to themselves and type online, and that's fine as well. So these are her prompts to think about for this week. What habits do you possess that are similar to those of your family of origin? If you could think about one or two habits that you possess that is sort of known from your family, what would those things be? Number two, what small changes have you attempted to make in your family? Or have you attempted to make any? Do you see your family dynamic as set and nobody's changing anything? This is just how people are in your family? Or are there any small changes you're attempting to make? And then lastly, what is your definition of a normal family? In your opinion, what does a normal family look like? And do you have it? Or are you trying to create it? Are you at a space in your life where maybe you have a significant partner or you have children and you're looking at what is normal for us? What are we going to do differently? Um, I think one thing in my family right now is, my husband and I, we try to make time to eat dinner together and have our conversation with each other every single day. So we might skip lunch or something like that, but when it comes to eating together, we try to at least eat one meal together every day and have our conversation and ask how each other's day went, see where it is that we can help each other, offer some suggestions or some insight into what we see might be going on, and then pray about it. So that tends to be our daily routine of just checking in with each other. Some people say, hey, when I come home, I want to just go chill, go relax, not talk to anybody. And so their routine might be, hey, we go our separate ways after we get home. We come together a couple hours later in the day, and then we discuss. Another thing for us is we try not to take things into our sleeping or our resting space um, that we feel like this is a resting space. So we don't have like a television in our bedroom because if we're resting, we're resting. We don't see television as rest. Some people do, and that's okay, but we don't. We see rest as sleep, lights off, complete dark, and getting your mind, allowing yourself to wind down so you have a rested mind for the day. So we don't have a television in our bedroom. Other people are like, well, we're not going to sleep without a television on. So do what works for your life. Do what works for your family. All right. This is what I wanted to share today. I hope that this was helpful to you as you are dealing with your own family dynamics. And again, are you the brave person speaking up? Are you the brave person shaking things up in your life? Are you the whistleblower in your family? Tell us, let us know in the comments. And we look to see you back on tomorrow. We'll be back in our book on forgiveness for Thinking Thursday. This has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host today, Shantae Charles. If you want to catch the talk back, you can join us over on IG at Daring Dialogues, all one word. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Be well, and most importantly, be light.